to overtime. Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
In a completely opposite direction of win now, let's talk about the draft a little bit, right? Apparently, James Wiseman is rising, LaMelo Ball is interviewing poorly, and Anthony Edwards is falling. I'm not a particular fan of any of these three. My least favorite is very explicitly James Wiseman. I don't see any motor, and I don't want to spend a top 3 pick on Clint Capella. That's it. I don't want to spend a top 3 pick on Clint Capella. The Hawks spent the 17th pick this year on Clint Capella, and I think that's even a stretch, especially with his awful contract, which of course wouldn't be a thing with Wiseman. But even then, like, this is someone who I'm not sure will have a defensive impact come playoffs. I'm not sure they'll have a particular impact in the regular season outside of being a lob threat. The question really comes on whether the shot is going to be there and with whether he's going to be a game-changing defender. Like, game-changing. What we really want with Wiseman is like a lefty Rudy Gobert with more athleticism. We want him to be a game-changing defender, run, jump, and dunk center, and some ability to stretch the floor. You know, I've seen the David Robinson comparison, but I really don't think he can get there. Because David Robinson was a game-changing passer as well, and was incredible. An incredible offensive talent that played well on defense as well. And so I hate that comparison. On the other side of things, you have Anthony Edwards, who might end up between Dwayne Wade or, Dion Waiters. Which is, Dion Waiters is much less valuable than a Clint Capella type. So at the end of the day, I think James Wiseman is the most can't-miss prospect, but I still don't think he's going to be anything great. The player who I think can be something great is LaMelo Ball. And him interviewing poorly, I'm confused there. Because where does he want to end up? Does he want a big market? Does he want the Knicks? Maybe. Does he just want to be able to control it? Does he want the Bulls? I mean, I'm not sure the Bulls want him as much, considering, they have their lead and secondary ball handler. Unless Arturas Karnisovas is willing to send out players, is willing to drop off Zach LaVine at, Philadelphia or something, which would be one of the worst team compositions I've ever seen. Zach LaVine is a very good shooter and a decent offensive player. Having him alongside Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid would just have 3 of them fighting over the ball and getting nothing done. I saw the Jordan Phillips rumor of LaMelo Ball and pieces for Ben Simmons, and if that's the case, nothing would make me happier. I'm such a huge fan of Ben Simmons on the Timberwolves, but let's not get into that. I think if we're talking mock draft, LaMelo Ball has to be the first pick for the Timberwolves. They're going to be drafting best player available, and I think, highest potential is LaMelo Ball, a 6'7", lanky point guard who has potential to shoot from distance and, shows good bounce and good speed and is an off-ball disruptor. That's the best case. Anthony Edwards, best case, is super physical, super athletic, good shooting wing who uses his body and his athleticism and his natural skills on defense to be an above-average defender. Both of those players are really good. Only one of them has a, incredibly unique and strong single skill. And for LaMelo Ball, it's his passing. And I think it's incredibly important to have something you're excellent at, not just a lot of things you're great at. And maybe for Anthony Edwards, that becomes drawing fouls if he can finally commit to going straight at the rim. Maybe that's what it can be. Maybe it can be his burst off of 2 feet or whatever. Anthony Edwards could end up having like an incredibly fun career as this super athletic, great creator for himself and this guy who's taking crazy shots and they're going in. But I worry that there's no consistency there. And that is, again, I'm a huge fan of consistency. Again, James Wiseman just doesn't have the motor. And then at number 4, I don't have, look, I love Tyrese Halliburton. I had him at number 4 for a while just because there was nothing he did poorly. And I was most convinced he was going to be good. I'm starting to lean closer into taking swings on some players. I still have Tyrese Halliburton as my number 2 point guard, but I mean, I think Isaac Okoro is moving into that 4 range for me. Isaac Okoro gave up under 0.5 points per ISO possession on defense. You know how insane that is? You know the last player in the NCAA to do that on the same usage rate that Okoro faced? No one. He is a game-changing defender with a great body, great athleticism, and he just does the right thing on offense to the point that, yeah, he's not going to be incredible. Or if he's incredible, it's going to take some serious development. But everything he does is just kind of the right move. If the shot is there, if you know that the shot is going to be there, you take him at 1. Genuinely. That's how game-changing he is on defense. That if the Timberwolves aren't getting a star and are, trading back, he's the player I would target more so than anyone else. I love Patrick Williams out of FSU. I think he has the frame, the body to get everything done. And this is a developmental player, sure. But if he goes to the Spurs, I'm scared because it's the same raw type of prospect as Kawhi Leonard was. And he has all the measurables. He doesn't have Kawhi's hands, but look at his shoulders. Look at his wingspan. His shoulders are broad as hell. He's 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan. This is your prototypical wing, except with all the defensive upside in the world and some offensive upside as well. If the Spurs get Patrick Williams, I'm scared. I mean, looking up and down, Tyrese Maxey, I think, could be very good. I worry about his free throw troubles and, getting to the line to begin with. But that's how it's always been with Kentucky players. Look, Malik Monk, he looked better than Tyrese Maxey, and he hasn't amounted to much. I just genuinely believe in Tyrese Maxey as a do-it-all type player. And I love my do-it-all type players. I love them. All right. I love my do-it-all players. We've been over that so many times. Onyeka Okongwu, I have worries. I have worries about the height, and I have worries about what he's going to do on offense. Next to no post game, and unless his defense is at the level of, again, a Rudy Gobert, there's going to be serious issues with what he can do. He's a better passer than he's given credit for, but even then is not good. Obi Toppin, he's 22 already. What more do I have to say? He's 22. He's a great offensive player, but has some of the slowest lateral movement I've ever seen, to the point that I think he will never be a good defender. The only way he could be used as a good defender is similar to what Giannis does a lot of the time, as someone who cleans up around the rim using his athleticism. Does he have the speed to get there from the other side in the way that Giannis does? Because Giannis has excellent agility in all facets of the game. Obi Toppin, Obi Tobin, however you say it. There's worries there. There's genuine worries about how he's going to get the athleticism going. Everyone's saying that Cleveland wants him. And as the future big after Kevin Love, I hope Andre Drummond isn't there a long time. It fits. It does. And as someone who would bring some sort of attraction to Cleveland, in Joakim Noah's words, I don't know of anyone who has ever gone on vacation to Cleveland. What's good about Cleveland? It's that roster just doesn't have a lot to work with. They have somehow built the single worst defensive team, I believe, ever. I forget what it was, but which year it was, but the Mavs, when they won 13 games or whatever it was, that was an incredibly poor defensive team. The Cavs are physically unable of stopping anyone. Name me the decent defenders on this team. I mean, it's a stretch to say Colin Sexton, I tell you that much. Chetty Osman isn't awful, but he's also not good. He's like a strong okay. And even then he's getting picked on because he's not a particularly good defender. Who else on that team is good? Kevin Porter Jr., as much as I like him, still needs to figure out that part of the game. Kevin Porter Jr. might be the best player on the Cavs. That's how bad they are. Kevin Love can't stop anyone. Couldn't stop anyone in Minnesota and still can't. He blacked out for that one play against Curry in the 2016 finals. But he's never been a good defender. Who else on that? Look, Andre Drummond is awful. He rebounds the ball and gets second chance points. I don't think people understand how bad Andre Drummond truly is. I've seen people say he's still the top 10 center. And first of all, no. Second of all, I'm not even sure he's worth $10 million a year, let alone a top 10 center. And he's getting paid 28. That's how sad it makes me. He's just not particularly good. He has one great skill as a rebounder and nothing else. That Cavs team needs so much work. And look, that's why I think Okoro should be the pick for them. Because you need a defender. You need or even if it's a big man, even if it's Onyeka Okongwu, you need some sort of defender. And they just don't have that. So if they want to go all in on offense, go for it. I mean, you might see that with the Timberwolves going LaMelo Ball. There's nothing there. There's nothing there defensively. And you can't win you can't win playoff games in shootouts. That happened to the Blazers this year. You can't win playoff games with shootouts. And that's an issue. If we move further down the list, the Hawks, look, do they have any great young player outside of Trae Young? They have John Collins, but they're seemingly unwilling to pay him, and I wouldn't pay him a max either. Are they going to listen to trade offers for John Collins? I mean, maybe, but I think it would take an offer that no one's willing to pay to get him. I think he would be an awesome fit in Sacramento. Would a Buddy Hield for John Collins type trade work? I doubt it. I don't think Atlanta wants to surround Trae Young with more minus defenders. Would they trade up to get Anthony Edwards? Whether it's at 1 or at 2, would they trade up for him? I don't know. I don't particularly think that he would work out for them. Look, you don't want a Georgia kid at home. You don't want your players to come home in their rookie year, especially not if it's a town like Atlanta. That's why the Knicks should not have any interest in someone like Cole Anthony. You don't want a player to come back and be where they know where stuff is. You want them to know where the training the training facility is, where the arena is, and where their home is. Ideally, look, it sounds incredibly sad considering we started off the show talking about how players aren't given the chance to, have their lives throughout the full year. But for a rookie's year is incredibly important to their development process. And it's genuinely important for them to start off by being a basketball player before they are a public icon as a rookie. And I'm still in support of using their platform to speak on whatever it is they want to. Only in the basketball sense, you want your rookie to play basketball and nothing else. Purely in a basketball sense. Purely as an on-court player. You want them to know, you want them to be practicing all the time. You want to see improvement throughout the year. And you don't want them to be in headlines. Unless it's something positive, like donated 3,000 meals or whatever it is. Those are 3 things that you want from your rookie. And I'm pretty sure the Hawks do not want to risk bringing in Edwards to an environment he's already at home in. Would it be a great storyline? Absolutely. Would Hawks fans fall in love with him? Hell yes. Is the fit there with Trae Young? Kind of. It depends on his defensive intensity. But is he mature enough to avoid the nightlife that Atlanta has and to avoid all of that? I don't think so. And that's just Anthony Edwards fitting with the Hawks. I think those questions go away a little if it's not somewhere that he grew up and is from and has spent most of his life. Outside of that, some prospects I really like. I like Sadiq Bey a lot. I like Kira Lewis a lot. As far as later drafts, Robert Woodyard, Jalen McDaniels, Tyler Bay is someone I really like. Tyrell Terry in the middle of the draft could be the steal. Genuinely, I'm hoping he falls to 17 for the Timberwolves if they end up, trading down and getting some wing, because he would be perfect for us as a third guard or even as a second guard. There's a lot of good players to look forward to. There's a lot in general. Look, this doesn't have the top end talent of most drafts, but I've said it 10 times. I'll say it again. It's all about the depth in this draft. We're going to get a lot of good role players out of this draft. Maybe not, and at least one player will make an all-star team. I'll say that, at least one. And outside of that, who knows? It's going to be a fun draft to watch. The basketball news until then. It is the 13th today. We are a month and 5 days away from the draft. Hopefully we get some trades before then. I mean, there's so much going on with this draft. There's so much potential value and so many potential shortcomings that I'm excited to watch.